Hey everybody, Chris with Clutter Reduction Junk Removal in Palm Beach County, Florida. And if you haven't heard on the news in your area yet, Florida is kind of going through a little bit of a blizzard. It's like in the 30s every day here. It's a little much for us, to be honest with you. I would rather not work. Yes, I am that much of a pansy when it comes to the cold. I am born and raised in Florida. I'm not proud of that fact, but that does mean I am pretty acclimated to the heat and not the cold. So anywhere we go, I am a little chilly. And I don't love it. Now, what we are unfortunately going to do right now, though, because it's supposed to be like this all week, is we're going to declutter this whole truck. I am the type of person to bring stuff with me, even though I probably won't need it, because I'd rather have it than not need it. Therefore, I usually have a lot of stuff back here. And I would say about half of it gets used like once in a blue, like literally once every maybe couple of months even. So definitely going to try to go through all that. I have this like toolbox thing on wheels, not the Milwaukee one. This is a cheap version. I'm going to try to get everything into the top and middle stack and then leave the wheel stack part in my garage and use it for moves. So I'm going to try to get everything in here and then 2 milk crates. One's going to be like bags and gloves and masks and stuff. The other one's going to be tools. So I'm just going to put something on the bottom so they don't fall out. But that's the game plan, is to get everything in that. So that way it can sit over here and not be in the way, and we can have people sit behind us because this is also our personal vehicle. In addition to that, while I'm doing that, so you're not just watching me clean for no reason, I'm going to talk about our game plan with our marketing this year. We are doing a huge push. We've done it before, like in increments, but we're doing a huge push in focusing on what we already have before we try to get something new. And what I mean by that is the client base we already have, the network we already have. We're going to be focusing on those first before we try to do more networking, before we go to do, marketing for new clients. So we're doing text blasts and email blasts using the Autopilot CRM. We're messaging out people on social media that we're already friends with, who we know through business, checking in with them for 2026, seeing how they're doing, kind of refresh them, keep them in mind. I might say, hey, we redid a website lately if you want to go check it out and keep us in mind when you need our services again, something like that. So that's going to be a big thing that we're doing. We are also going to be trying to push for the surrounding areas when we're on jobs already. So I got 3 different type of yard sign. It's cold. We got 3 different type of yard signs made up for this year with using marketing. One of them has 3 services on it in our phone number. The other one has 3 different services on it in our phone number. All services we provide through junk removal, just different examples, like senior downsize, clean outs, and hoarder houses, or furniture, appliances, and trash. So I'm going to use those kind of like as a test, because I've done yard signs in the past, way back, and I would make some that were like clean out focused and then some that just flat out said junk removal with a phone number. And I actually got more calls from the clean out signs. Now that could just be for area. There's no actual evidence behind that. But I felt like because it provided an example, I tended to get more calls for people who needed that exact service. And then we got a 3rd sign that's just a branded sign. It literally just says Clutter Reduction Junk Removal on it with our logo. And that's going to be put at neighbors' houses that don't live in a strict HOA. So those just come with us all the time. We just stick it in the front yard. And we just tell the neighbor, like, hey, whenever you get tired of seeing it or someone complains, pluck it out, throw it away. We appreciate the time it is out because that is marketing for us. And then something I learned of recently from Mike Endez is one of the people I follow for business. He's a landscaper guy. He talked about in one of his recent videos, when you are going to your job sites, especially if you're not solo, if you have somebody else with you, while you're working, have that person go by like the 5 houses around or the 10 houses around, not necessarily doing door hangers, but actually knocking on the doors and introducing yourself. Now, we got these little gift certificates made up that we were going to use for our repeat clients this year, and I got a lot of them. So in case we don't hit that threshold, we figure we would use some of them now. We'll order more if we need to, but the gift certificates basically have our picture on it, our name, phone number, and website, and then it looks like a gift certificate that we write out an amount to. So under the name, we're just going to write client neighbor or something, and we'll either do a percentage or a dollar amount off, and then it has an expiration of the end of this year. So we're going to go by, and Tanya, who's a little bit more outgoing than myself, and I'm the worker bee anyways, she's going to go around. Let's say, for example, our house, we have a guy next to us. We have 3 people across the street, one guy on the other side. If we were working at our house, Tanya would go to those 5 houses, 4 or 5, whatever, 6 houses, and knock on the door and just say, hey, we're working next door. I just wanted to come by and introduce myself. Sorry to take up your time. We do junk removal. We have a gift certificate for you because you're a client. You're the neighbor of our client. If you ever need anything in the future, we love to work with you. Sorry to bother you. Have a nice day. Something along those lines, but Tanya will add on some bubbly personality because that's more up her field. I'm just straight. So that's one of the things we're really going to try to push for. And then in addition to doing that, we'll have the yard sign out front when we leave. So maybe those people are like, what was that company again? They see the yard sign, and then they see that. And it's a big car too. It's like the size of a door hanger with rounded corners, maybe a little smaller. So I'm hoping that like it doesn't just go straight in the trash like a business card does. It'll be a little bit more presentable and harder to miss. So we'll talk a little bit more about the things that we plan on doing as we're cleaning, and we'll try to see how much we can get taken care of. I am tempted to turn on my truck and put the heater on even with the doors open, because as I sit in here, my hands are getting increasingly more cold. I think it's currently 37 out, which I know for some of you, 37, that's like going to a sauna for me. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. It's fucking cold, okay? It's cold. Hate it. Stupid. We're gonna turn the truck on. It's gonna take a second to turn on. Gotta let the diesel warm up. Diesel preheat in process, please wait. Turn the heat on. Gas is cheaper than sanity. All right, we'll let that warm up a little bit. Let's start in the back. So the problem that we usually face is we bring our personal stuff in here too, and then maybe it doesn't come out right away. And like we'll keep up with it and we'll bring stuff out, and then we won't. But our main focus is what we actually use on like a daily basis, which is our trash bags. We have the white trash bags, and then we have the black contractor bags. We use the white ones for like clothing and donation, and then we use the black ones for trash, pretty much. This is empty. We have our tools, of course. I use my moving blanket as a drag pad, probably at least once every maybe 10 jobs. So it's not a huge amount, but that is something that is important to me. So that stays in here. Plus I use it as a barrier. If we find something we want to keep, I can wrap it up and put it in here. By the way, really quick. 1 second. I bought this on Amazon 5 months ago and didn't use it until the other day. This is a weather strip ramp. It's small. It's a half inch. Half inches matter. So it's a rubber little strip that you would put on a weather strip on either side. So when you get to it, it's not just a hard hit with a dolly or with a hand truck, because I don't care who you are, unless your wheels are massive, and I'm talking like 8 inches or more and probably air packed, you're gonna feel that weather strip. And then when you have dollies of heavy pieces on it and they're harder to push up, you're probably always gonna hit it. It's gonna throw your piece off. Overall, it's just gonna be a pain. We had this for this job. We had a super heavy sleeper sofa that was, I had to put on the nose of the couch to get it out the door because it had a double screen door. Stupid. And then we had an upright piano, and both items pretty smooth sailing going over this thing. So it definitely worked out. It's also good too because with the weather strips, especially the thicker ones, like we get some that are like 1.5 inches. So stupid. When you continuously hit them, you may not realize it, but there's a good chance you may pull it off of the ground, and if you have tile underneath, it can actually crack the tile. It can cause little micro fractures in the tile. So I think this was 20 or 30 bucks. It's crazy, right? For how, like, what it is. But it is pretty heavy duty, and I was able to cut it to size. I cut it to 30 inches. I might even go down to 28 just because, and you can tell I cut it because it's crooked. But I might do 28 because I only need it to be as wide as my dolly is, or my hand truck. And if it's too long and you have a tight door, then this might just get ended up pushed up, and then it's going to be uneven. So, but you can cut it to size, which is cool. Definitely came in handy though, and it will stay in the truck because it is a paint. I know that's one of those items where I don't need it every time. But every house has a weather strip, so I'm going to keep it. I think it's important. I'll try not to do that every time I come across something. Nobody likes my talking videos. Yes, I'm sour about that. Everyone talks shit about it. I'm just over here trying to do what I want to do. I'm not playing anyone's games here. Yeah. My journey. All right. So, getting into repeat clients. We don't pay for ads. So, like, even like our customer acquisition cost, your CAC, let's not say that, your CAC, CAC. Even for that, like, we don't pay for ads or anything, so I don't even know if we technically have that. We do things organically. I guess, like, our time is probably our biggest factor, but I don't know. I don't know how to calculate that in terms, because it's not labor time, it's just like off time. I don't know. I'm not that business savvy to understand that. So the point is, we're not going out and paying for like Google ads where it's like, oh, you have to pay $12 to get a lead in addition to a $3 fee or whatever it is, how it works. I don't know. Never done it. So like, I don't know what that is. But his example was, before you go out and try to start paying for a new customer acquisition, why not start with the people you already have? Whether that's a pending invoice that hasn't been paid, which can obviously throw some money in your pocket when you're struggling, or if it's somebody maybe you've done jobs for and you had a really good acquaintance with, and you know, maybe you haven't seen them in 6 months or a year, or maybe you just randomly think about them one day and you're like, oh, I remember that client, they're super cool. You know, why not reach out to them and say, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but we did a junk removal for you, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, whatever. And we wanted to just reach out. We're going to be in your area next week, and we just want to see if there's anything you may need or have any upcoming projects. Be happy to work with you again. And that's going to be cheaper to try to get them on your team again, because they've already used you. They've already taken that chance with you. They saw how you worked. They liked you. They probably liked you enough to use you again. And it's going to be cheaper and easier to repeat that process versus trying to convince somebody new to use your services versus the guy down the street who's offering to do it for 25 bucks. Because I know we've all been dealing with that lately. And if you're one of those people, I'm not mad at you. I get it. But it does suck. We had a guy, we quoted, he sent me a picture of stuff. I told him it would be $3.99, and he said, oh, thank you so much. Called me back like a half hour later and said, hey, so I told the other guy what you would charge, and he said he would do it for $3.79. Will you beat that? And I was like, this isn't a reverse auction. No, I'm not going to beat that. Good luck with him. And I never heard from him again. And maybe I should have said, oh, I'll do $3.59, but like, what's going to stop that? Like, the fact the guy took the time to do that pissed me off. I didn't get that job. We got a clean out instead though, because I was going to be booked on the same day. The clean out ended up being $2,000. So was it really a loss if we still made out on it? And I always feel like people like that, not every time, but I feel like a good chunk of the time people are like that. When it comes down to payment at the end of the day, they're gonna try to be like, oh, if I give you cash, can you give me a big discount or something? And And I'm usually like, I actually prefer not to have cash because now I just have to go to the bank and deposit it, and it's more of a headache on my end. I would really rather you just pay me by card or by Zelle. And then we have all of our stupid DOT stuff that you have to have, even though you probably never use it. This is one of the tools. You guys might use this a lot. I don't use this a lot. This is one of the tools that I bought. I talked about this in our finance video we just put out, where I did a job where I had a broom sweep a huge area and it took me forever. And I was like, a leaf blower would be really cool. And then I could use it at home too. And I probably use it at home more than I do on jobs, because this is really only good for like construction sites or garages. But even then, if it's a lot of stuff, you're just blowing it out into somebody else's yard anyways, or in the driveway or something. And just like if there's cars out there that you gotta squeeze under the cars and get them, it's actually not that useful for us. So another thing with customers that we are trying to do is we invoked a customer reward program this year. So essentially what we're trying to do is we are giving like a 10,000, I wish. We're giving a $10 reward for every booked job or referral that goes through. So for example, off the top of my head, we have 3 clients that probably use us between 8 to 12 times a year, sometimes more. So that individual specifically is gonna get about $100 to $120 in credits by the end of the year, and they can use that for a credit for a job. They can gift it to somebody because it's the holidays. They can get a local gift card to a restaurant or something nearby, or they can donate it to a charity, and we will take care of any of those requests. And we're keeping track with it through our Autopilot CRM and our Excel sheet. So when I can find an easier way to do it, I will. But for now, those are the 2 things I'm doing. And with those, we are trying to increase kind of having our client work for us by incentivizing them to do referrals or to do to work with us again, maybe more periodically than they could. I know it's not a huge amount, but I do think it adds up. And again, these are all like repeat clients and stuff. And I think it'll just overall be a good decision. And even the people who just do it just because, they'll just get a little something at the end of the year. So no harm, no foul. But that is something that we're trying to do. We're trying to incentivize people using us. Also, if they refer us, they get a credit, and the person they referred us to get a credit as well. So it goes both ways. And if you're curious, we're not really losing any money on it per se. The credit's just like a discount. So yes, we do lose money in the moment when that happens, but we're losing it by also attaining another job. The only time we're really losing money is if they want the gift card or the donation option, which we are also chalking up to a tax write-off at the end of the year because we just got done having that problem. And I think that'll just be a good way to kind of seal the deal at the end while also giving back to our clients through their hard work and referrals. All these ideal nutrition bags. I don't know what you guys do for lunches on jobs, but we started doing ideal nutrition. It's not cheap, don't get me wrong. We're spending like $800 a month on this, but it does keep us from eating out, and it keeps our work lunches much more healthier. And I know you can meal prep, but like everybody else in the world, I don't love meal prepping. I used to when I was single. I was actually pretty consistent with it. But I also ate the same shit every single day, and Tanya cannot do that for the life of her. So, short version, it doesn't get done. All right, I need to get one milk crate. Yeah, I think these milk crates are great, honestly. I started collecting them on jobs, and like they stack, they're sturdy. The holes are the only problem, but it is what it is. Just don't put anything too small that it falls through. But yeah, they're compactful. They have handles on all 4 sides. I really like them overall. By the way, I have not used my dump trailer yet. I'm having a real hard time with charging the battery. So if you guys have any tips, I have a trickle charger on there right now, solar paneled, that got the light to work, but it's not doing anything else. And I can't keep it at my house to charge it all the time. I didn't realize it needs to be plugged in like all the time. I thought it would be enough to have it hooked up to the truck battery. It's kind of like the double axle situation. When I got my first trailer, I got a single axle because I didn't know any better. And the guy even asked me, he's like, oh, what are you using this for? I was like, oh, junk removal. He's like, oh, that's cool. Never said anything to me about like, hey, if you want to spend $150 more, you can get a double axle. You won't run into a weight problem. Because I tell you what, if I had just gotten the tandem axle utility trailer, the one that got the aluminum side built on, I would still be using that fucking thing today. I love that aluminum side. I thought it looked so nice. I thought the wrap came out so clean. It was an ideal size compared to like the franchises. So like I'm not shooting myself in the foot by offering a cheaper price for literally 5 cubic yards more than 1-800 Got Junk is, and still somehow being like $50 less for a full load. And overall, I shoot myself in the foot all the time about it. I'm like, oh, if I would have just, like, I looked up so much stuff about trailers and like safety and like, oh, this is how you load it, this is stuff you need to buy for it, make sure you have this on your truck, make sure your truck's powerful enough to pull this much weight, all these different things. It never crossed my mind to look into the fact of whether it's a single or double axle. I'm annoyed at myself, and I'm annoyed that the sales guy never told me. And you would think he would, because like that's just more money in his pocket as a commission. Such a pain. But it is what it is. Live and learn. Now I know. If you don't know, get a tandem axle. Do not get a single axle anything. There's no need for it. Honestly, like no matter what you plan on doing with the trailer, I just don't, unless there's a reason to it, I don't see why you would want to get a single axle. I really can't think of anything specifically. Like even if you don't ever like need the weight capacity, it's better to have it than not need it. I mean, I guess you have more tires to take care of if they go out, but it's also good too, because if a tire goes out, oh my God, I forgot I have the heat on and it feels so nice. I'm like freezing. If a tire goes out, you know, you have a backup sort of temporarily. All right, so we got our tools. The second crate is going to be bags, gloves, and then our build out box is going to have pretty much everything else. We're going to try to compact it. And then I can probably take out my hand truck cover and put that in the moving tow. I don't really need that in here. I only kept it because every now and then we come across things we want to sell. I don't think I'll need that though. I can always drape it with the blanket and band it off if I need to. The pool stick stays. If anyone plays pool and you guys are down in Palm Beach County, Florida, hit me up. I'm not like super good, but I'm like above average of your typical bar person. I enjoy the game. I think it's fun. It's a very analytical game, and I think analytical is one of my personality traits based on my tests I took years ago. All right, so more tools. Some of these tools are going to end up going in the load out box, but until we get to that point. Oh my God, it's cold and the sun's out too. Why is it still cold? Let's take a little break with the heater. Oh my God. Just hit my pool stick. Hello, heater. Okay. Back to customer stuff. So, another thing that we're doing is the people who have used us on a semi-constant basis, whether it's a realtor or oh no, the wind's coming in here, or it's just a repeat client in general, we're asking them to send us a video testimonial that either applies to their profession or just them as an individual. For example, I asked 2 different realtors. One of them, I said, hey, do you mind making a quick video, introduce yourself as a realtor, and then say, here's why you should use junk removal prior to a closing when you're trying to sell your house. These are the perks to it. And then, we'll share it on our social media and tag them as well. And what we're doing is we're utilizing the credible knowledge source of a realtor to say, hey, here's why you need junk removal. They're not specifically referring us. They're explaining the perks of it. That way we can share it for educational purposes to the followers on social media. And then we asked another realtor to say, like, hey, can you explain the benefits of doing junk removal early on in the buy and sell process versus waiting until last minute like it is often seen? Because maybe, something that we have noticed is when we're dealing with realtors, they'll use junk removal at the very end. But what ends up happening is they try to get everything else done first, and then they end up going back to do junk removal again in the future. So like if they move out and they leave the stuff behind, that's when they call us. That's the last step. However, especially as a mover or former mover, it's better to declutter before you move because you don't have to pay to get it moved. People don't think about this, but let's say you have a 4-man crew. Let's say you have a 2-man crew, you're paying $139 an hour. That's some of the franchises nearby me's rate. $139 an hour, 2 people, right? $140 basically. Let's say one guy is wrapping up a big couch, right? Big sectional couch. It's going to take him probably 15, 20 minutes, depending on how quick he is. You got to drape it, tape it, shrink it, bend it, whatever. You got to move it in parts out to the moving truck. Maybe one guy's wrapping and the other guy's moving it. Overall, let's say collectively it takes them about 15 minutes together to move this one, 5-piece sectional couch and load it onto the truck. Let's say that 15 minutes at $140 an hour, you're looking at like 35-ish bucks spent on that one piece. Now, if you aren't sure if you're going to want that couch at the other side because maybe it's too big and you're going to downsize anyways, it would be more cost efficient to get that taken care of now for junk removal if you are planning on doing it anyways in the future. Because not only are you going to pay to get it wrapped and loaded, but you're going to pay to get it unwrapped and set up and staged and whatnot. So cost right off the back, it's not the same as junk removal, because for me to remove a 5-piece sectional couch is probably going to be like around $300 to $400 depending on how bulky it is, versus paying movers, $37 times 2, $74 just to, move these items to your new house. But if you're planning on getting rid of it anyways, it's better to do it now than later because you're not going to get hit with that double cost. So that's an example I would want a realtor to mention, or I'll end up doing myself as a mover and give that example. We'll see. But that's some of the things we're having to do. We have some clients that are a little bit wealthier who value their time, your ideal client. And we're going to say, hey, would you mind making a video talking about why you choose to use us versus doing it yourself? Because she's capable of doing it herself, but it's not worth her time. So if she could say that in a nice way without coming across as cocky, I don't know, then, that's something that somebody else may resonate with and think, oh, maybe her job is like mine and she's busy and she could do it, but she doesn't want to. That's a good way to put it into perception. I'll call this company too. And we're not going to mention it, but what we may do is the people who do choose to do it, we might send them like a $20 gift card to like a local coffee shop or something, just as a thanks. And we won't say it to them. We'll just do it as a thank you because obviously that's good for us for social media. And we can also include it on our website as well, if they're okay with it. They have to be okay with sharing it on social media, which will be in the text as well. Nothing like iced black coffee on a cold day. Oof. All right, I'm gonna have to speed this up a little bit because my hands are cold. Look at that. I'm losing the color. I'm losing color. I can still crack them. That's good. They're not frozen, but they do hurt. Your fingertips ever hurt? I would not do well in the Arctic, guys. Tanya wants to move to Connecticut, and I'm like, why the fuck would you want to go there? Don't get me wrong, I want to leave Florida too, but I'll end up in North Carolina, where like it's only cold for 3 months. It snows for like a week. That's an ideal thing for me. I don't like being cold everywhere I go. Like, it's cold in the house. It's cold when you're taking a shit. It's cold when you come out of the shower. It's cold when you go outside in the morning. It's cold when you go to the store. It's cold in the car. I don't like not being able to escape the cold. That's what I don't like. So, that's just me though. I know some of you guys, I don't know if you guys choose to live in certain places or you enjoy it or you don't have a choice. I don't know. But I don't love it. Don't get me wrong, it gets really hot here and that sucks too. But I don't know. So we're going to run through this really quick and then I'll show you the result. Alright, it's been about 45 minutes since I started. We have booked a estimate/junk removal for tomorrow for a storefront clean out. He said the whole bay is full of trash and they think it would be like 2 dumpsters worth, and I was like, alright, well, if you get the dumpsters, we'll do the labor, or we can come out and just haul it away. You don't have to do anything. So we're going to go tomorrow and figure it out. We finally got a door panel back. If you guys remember the accident we were in, I've been riding around with no door panel, hence the missing part still. So got a couple of small things in here. Our ratchet strap we use for securing heavier, awkward items to the hand truck when we have stairs. The record blades if I ever get a hot tub one day. So we pretty much got this all cleaned out. Like, there was a bunch of stuff on this seat. It's all dirty. We have our moving bands that we will use to tie off drawers and cabinets on pieces so they don't fling open while we're moving them. Got the pull stick. All of my tools are in the blue container and up here. And then the other container has bags, first aid kit, and something else. We have our moving blanket that we will use as a drag pad to stick a heavy piece on to slide through tight doorways. And then in the container underneath the tools has our gloves, masks, and booties, and wipes. So this is literally everything that we need on a daily basis, minus our equipment, which is in the back of the truck. So I think we did pretty good so far. I definitely was able to declutter a little bit and downsize some, so that's good. And we'll find out in the next week if I took something out I wasn't supposed to.